Super Mario 64 is one of the most renowned speedruns in the world. It's one of the reasons speedrunning is where it is today, and I'm happy I finally got to try the run for myself. Now, although I didn't have a Nintendo 64 to speedrun on, I still had an emulator on my computer, so while it's not exactly the same, it's good enough for me to have fun. In the game, the movement, levels, and techniques all come together to make a wonderful experience that makes this game perfect for speedrunning. But before we start with my progress, I should explain my decision to play 16 star rather than 0 star, what's basically any percent for this game. First, we need to explain why 16 star is even a category. 16 star used to be the fastest way to play Super Mario 64. We need 8 stars to defeat our first Bowser, 15 stars to spawn Mips and get to the next Bowser, but not before collecting our 16th star, and then we can progress up to the final Bowser by using BLJs, a technique I'll explain later. The category is still highly contested because the new fastest category, 0 star, skips, well, everything. I wanted a speedrun where I could actually get to play the game, and 16 star fit what I wanted perfectly. It's the perfect length, lets you run levels in many different and unique ways, and lets you use all the movement that Super Mario 64 is known for. With that said, let's get to how fast you can speedrun Super Mario 64 16 star in 1 week. So day 1, like usual, started with me learning the route. For this I used a tutorial by the channel More Jam. The only problem with the video is it's 5 years old and very outdated. See, the problem with SM64 16 stars, there are so many different stars you can get in so many different orders, it's hard to find which route is best to start with, especially when you're a beginner and can't just emulate world record strats yet. This meant I started learning the route in this video and later switched to a newer route, and I'll explain those changes later. However, since it was early in my week, my focus was set on becoming better on the movement, so I was perfectly okay with doing the stars in a slightly different order than what is optimal. Now we start SM64's timing at reset rather than when you click on the actual file, then we watch this short cutscene before starting the run. Here we go to the castle, but right before that, there's this trick where you can skip the dialogue with Lakitu by long jumping very close to the edge of the bridge, but I didn't get good enough at that until my movement improved later in the week. Then we go to Bomb on Battlefield. Here we go to the chain chomp before ground pounding a stand 3 times and opening up the star behind this cage. There is a faster strat where you can clip through the gate with the bomb instead, but I never got good enough at the trick to do it. After all, there are much easier and more helpful time saves out there. Next we jump over to Womp's Fortress, where we're going to be getting 4 stars. For the first star we go to the side of the map and then we wall jump to the star. Then we go to the top of the map with some fancy movement and defeat the Womp boss with a glitch that allows us to ground pound at the right time and go through his body so we don't have to dodge his attacks. Third, we get to the top again by using the same means as the last star, and then go to the top of the tower using wall jumps. And then finally, we use the owl in this tree to fly over to our last star in the sky. Now we go to Cool Mountain, where we get 3 more stars before fighting Bowser for the first time. We start by jumping off this cliff and holding back when we get right about here. Then we perform different wall jumps and grab our 6th star. The next star comes from grabbing this penguin and sliding off these 2 different areas. When you get off the second slide, it automatically causes you to jump, giving you a lot of momentum to return the little penguin to its mom. Finally, we go into the chimney and slide down the slide, falling off here to skip a large part of the slide and collect our star outside. Now we finally made it to Bowser. I think that all the Bowser areas are very difficult and probably the hardest parts of the run. It's easy to fall off and have to restart the levels all over again, so these are definitely the levels to practice the most. However, the movement is fairly simple and doesn't require too much explanation. It's just a series of hard jumps and simply requires some practice. Now we're at Bowser. Here we need to grab his tail and throw him into the surrounding bombs. Easy, right? Except the timing is incredibly precise, and clicking slightly too late or slightly too early will result in Bowser surviving another day. I dislike Bowser throws, but ultimately, they're just something you have to get used to and naturally come with doing runs. The best part is at least we do get to hear the
Alright, easy second try.
Now we can go into the basement and make it to Lethal Lava Land. Quick note by the way, my splits were kinda messed up here and they say I go to Shifting Sandland first, a route change I'll make later, but that point doesn't really matter too much. Now for the first star we perform a series of 4 long jumps, although I often would mess up the 4th, and then we hit the bully into the lava before collecting our next star. Then we can long jump over to the Bowser puzzle star where we collect 8 red coins and get another star. Next is Shifting Sandland, where we only have 1 star with the current route. This requires doing a triple jump and then kicking our way up to the top of the mountain before sliding down it, climbing the pyramid and collecting our star. By the way, we can do these kicks up the mountain by holding the jump button and spamming the kick button. Now it's time for Hazy Maze Cave. In this level we get 3 stars and an extra 1 from Toad that we include in the split. We can long jump past this gap and enter the door, something we do for all the stars in this level, and now we can travel to the next door, activate this elevator, stand under it here, and make a clip to the star. In practice I did mess this up and fell into the water, needing to then use Dory to make it back, but once I knew what I was doing it was easy to land on the correct platform. We can then get this Toad star by just talking to him. I guess he was lonely, and then go back in. For our next star, we wall jump here and simply long jump to the star. And for our final star, we long jump across this gap and then dodge the rolling boulders before wall jumping and making it to our star. By the way, to my knowledge, the position of the boulders are the only luck-based part of the run, other than one that will get added when we change the route a little bit, so it's nice, especially after speedrunning Dark Souls a couple weeks ago. Now Mips is spawned and it's time for Mips Club. Here we grab Mips, but don't take his star as we simply don't need it. You can then walk against the store at an angle, and as soon as Mips' shadow disappears, you crouch, turn around, and re-grab him before dropping him again and continuing through the door. We can do the same thing for our next starter, but we don't need to re-grab him again, so it makes it a lot easier. The level we go to, Dire Docks, we just need to swim along until we make it to the ship, kick up it, and collect our star, unlocking the second Bowser fight. Again, we have another difficult level with some insane movement, but it's fairly straightforward. Some things to mention is we use lava to boost in a few places, but that's pretty much the only strat besides learning the route and going fast. Bowser is the same fight as last time, except he causes the platform to tilt, so we just need to run up it for a bit before allowing ourselves to slide down, grab his tail, and throw him. Now it's time to finish the game. Here we can make it to the upstairs with our second key, but yet again there's another door blocking us. However, we can use a technique called backwards long jumps, or BLJs. Basically, the programmers of this game never put a cap on how fast your speed can be in a negative direction. Therefore, we can use this to long jump repeatedly against the stairs, making our speed negative, and increasing that speed with every long jump. Once you get a high enough speed, you can stop long jumping and Mario goes at an insanely fast speed. This speed allows him to go through this wall and even the famous endless staircase to make it to the final Bowser fight. If you would like a more specific explanation of the trick, I'll leave that in all my other resources I use in the description, but for now we're going to finish off with Bowser. Now we do another level, which again is fairly straightforward. There are some really cool fast strats that are possible to do, but I never learned them because they're very tough and it's hard to justify learning them within the week-long challenge. Now the final Bowser fight requires us to throw Bowser into the bombs 3 different times. This is very tough as you have to be precise 3 times in a row, and it often kills really good runs. Again though, I got better as I did more runs, but this ended off my learning of the game. Also, it was great because this is the first time I'd ever learned one of these games in only one day, and I was able to complete my first run that same day. Now for that first run, I basically used all the strats I just talked about. I was still getting used to the game, so there were many mistakes, but I was determined to do well. My biggest problems came from the Bowser levels and Bowser fights, along with BLJs taking longer than I would have liked. I also had a gigantic problem of learning when to drop with this owl because the camera gets really messed up, but I was able to end the run with a 45-16, and I was happy with my first run. I tried to do a few more after this, but at this point I was really tired and needed some rest, so I ended off my stream and day 1 there. When day 2 started, I knew the first thing I needed to do was better my knowledge of the strats I was doing. This resulted in me learning the triple jump method for Womp's Fortress, which is a bit faster than my method before. I also learned how to control this owl better and how to drop on the star more successfully. I started using the visual cue of when this fence gets just out of view. Then you hold the same direction as you're moving with the owl, and you should land right at the star. Other than that, I made some small improvements with my movement, BLJs, and Bowser throws that just came with muscle memory. Day 2 resulted in 2 PBs. The first just barely missed the sub 30-minute time, which was sad, but I knew I had a lot of improvement in me. I was right, as an hour later, I got the 27:52 before calling it a day. Now I'm going to be grouping up day 3 and day 4 together because I didn't learn any new strategies or make too significant of improvements. The thing about SM64 is the biggest improvement you can make is movement. Unlike past games I've speedrun that have more tricks like Breath of the Wild, for SM64, all that matters is movement with a few tricks sprinkled in. With that being said, I did learn something incredibly important on day 4. For every day prior, I always use the Key2 cam when trying to BLJ. This makes the camera move around you if you fail to BLJ, and it's very frustrating. However, I learned you can switch to far away Mario cam, and the camera will stay in one set position, making it easier to set up for your next attempt. This was a game changer and it really helped with my mentality. Anyway, day 3 resulted in a 26:59, a 25:39, and a 25:11 with a whole lot of heartbreak. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the sub 25 this day, but there's always tomorrow, right? Hey look, you're right, because I got a 24:10 the next day, but that was my only PB of the day. Honestly, it's kind of bittersweet though. I could have had an amazing run that I had right before the PB, but I failed Bowser throws over and over. Then on my PB, I got good Bowser throws and would have gotten a sub 24, but died on the level before that. Honestly, it sucked and I knew I could do better. On day 5, I decided not to stream because I wanted to practice instead, and I'd say I'd use that practice pretty wisely. I focused on learning a newer, faster route that could be used instead of my older run, so let's go over what changed. First, I added in cannonless. This trick allows you to grab the star in the wall that usually you have to use the cannon to reveal. For the setup, you grab onto this ledge, get up, do a backflip, punch the air to inch a bit forward, turn the camera so it's in the right position, slowly walk down and grab the ledge, move the camera left and then back right to make sure the position of the camera is correct, make Mario climb up, and then hold down so he does a U-turn into the wall, grabbing the star. This is a pretty tough setup to perform quickly, but I got it by just going a little slower and then it was easy to do. And it was also faster than the star we replace it with, the slide star in Cool Mountain. Next we make another change in that we get the red coins in the first Bowser level. This is just fast because they're pretty much all on our way already, it just makes the level a bit harder and scarier. Other than that, we're good. This star will replace the Bully star in Lethal Lava Land. Finally, we replace the elevator star in Hazy Maze Cave with this one in Shifting Sand Land. Here we do a double jump to the slide on the hill and then jump over to this large platform. We can now long jump from that platform to hit this flying Shy Guy, causing us to glide, and finally hit the bird before running over and getting the star he dropped. If we miss the bird, we can do a backup strat on this pillar that he will come to. This star is sometimes annoying though because the Shy Guy's position is based on RNG, and we can easily be slightly off or he can just be in a place where we can't hit him at all. That's it for the route changes though, so I practiced those for the rest of the day and went to sleep for the next one. Yeah, I was sick on day 6. I felt terrible and couldn't stream or play for more than 20 minutes of a practice run. Why does this always happen to me? Okay, well we're now on day 7 because of certain complications. But that's okay, it's time for a new PB. It's time for a new PB, please. Now I finally got a good run and it was going well, until Shifting Sandland. Why me? But that's okay because we were slowly able to bring it back, and for the first time ever, I was able to get 3 perfect Bowser throws. This was the most glorious comeback I think I've ever had, but I could still do better. I had another run a little later. I was playing out of my mind. I had a few mistakes here and there, but it could easily be a 21-minute time if I just played my cards right. The OJs went fairly well, and now it was time to go hard. And then I died. And fell. And literally everything that could have went wrong, went wrong. You love to see it. So that ended off day 7, and honestly, this week went a lot worse than I thought it would. I really wanted to get at least a 22-minute time, but ended with a 23. Now obviously, if I didn't get sick on day 7, I think I would have met my goal. It still hurts the same though. Even so, the SM64 16-star speedrun is very fun. It has fast-paced movement and you always could make one mistake and lose time, so it keeps it very suspenseful. It was a little short for me though. If I wasn't doing a week-long challenge, I think I would have preferred playing the 70-star speedrun over this one, but this is the perfect category for playing for a week, and I definitely recommend it if you enjoy 3D platformers. For my next speedrun, we're going to be doing Minecraft, so we'll see what happens.